Part 32. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 317. Of course, what Yejing said was just like farting. So far, no one knows how the first expeditionary force was completely wiped out. The truth can only be known after the 13 people who came back alive speak. Yejing said this just to comfort them. Gaya Lamperouki, who was still on the throne before, had already left with the Secretary of State after waiting for the news, and went to deal with the impact of this incident on the moon later. Anyway, the Crescent Empire has been established, and such a big incident happened. The people in the VIP seats returned to Blue Star, and all the reporters ran away to report the first-hand information. Laura Lamperouki looked at Yejing with tears in her eyes and opened her mouth to speak. Why don't you leave? Why are you so reluctant to leave me? Shit. Yejing rolled his eyes and said, the aircraft exploded when we came here. Now we can't return to Blue Star, so we came to you for help. Can't go back. Laura Lamperouki was stunned for a moment, then said, isn't there a passenger plane from the moon that goes directly to the Magic City? After leaving the palace, turn left and you'll find the airport. I won't send you off if I have something to do here. See you next time. Another bullshit. Yejing said angrily, nonsense, do you think I don't know there is an airport? Think about it, after such a big incident, the passenger plane would have been packed with people. We must return immediately. Now. Now you understand. Lola Lamperouki wondered, then why are you looking for me? I can't take you back, and I won't open a green channel for you at the airport, so give up. Yejing said expressionlessly, don't forget, it was us who rescued you from the dungeon. Where are the billions of spirit stones you mentioned? Where are the princes you mentioned? Where are you talking about ruling the world with us? Lola Lamperouki looked embarrassed, scratched her head and said, isn't it because I didn't become the emperor? 1 billion spiritual stones are gone, can 100,000 be enough? The king is gone, but the baron and viscount can do it. Yejing's mouth twitched. This shrinkage is really big. He didn't have time to stay in this ink with Laura, so he directly stated his purpose. Stop talking nonsense. When you ran away from home, you had so many aircraft. Lend us any of them. We need to return to the Magic City as soon as possible. By the way, it needs to be full of energy. It's such a small thing. Lola Lamperouki breathed a sigh of relief, patted her chest, and said, it's easy to say, come with me. As long as it doesn't make him fulfill his crazy words, he can say anything. Isn't it just an aircraft? He hid several of them in the newly established palace. After saying that, he stood up and walked out of the imperial court with Yejing. Follow up. Yejing waved to Gray, Ai Zyakui also hugged Ji Qingjian, and the three of them followed closely. Following Laura Lamperouki, they stopped after a few turns in the palace. Laura lifted up the dusty black cloth in the corner, and a brand new black aircraft appeared in front of them. This is it. It's brand new and hasn't been used yet. It's full of energy. I'll give it to you. Laura said boldly. Okay, thank you very much. Let's meet again in the future. Yejing thanked Laura and got on the aircraft. Gray also nodded slightly to thank Laura and followed him up. Right. Just as the aircraft door was about to close, Laura said again. I can't afford to pay you the spiritual stones I owe you. The title is still acceptable, and it doesn't matter whether it's Baron or Viscount. I'll send it to you in 2 days. Yejing waved his hand nonchalantly and said, whatever, that thing is of no use. Why is it useless? Laura said solemnly, in the Star Sea, the Jupiter World Tree Race, the elves have established diplomacy with the Crescent Empire. Once you encounter the elves in the Star Sea, they will not make things difficult for you. I'm going back to the Demon City, not to the Star Sea. I won't meet any elves? Yejing shrugged and said. He waved to Laura and closed the door of the aircraft. After a few slight vibrations, the aircraft took off and left. Lola Lamperouki looked at the distant aircraft, narrowed her eyes, and murmured. Let's meet again in the sea of stars. After saying this, he looked resolute and a ray of light flashed in his eyes. He turned around and did not return to the imperial court, but walked towards another corner of the palace. He wants to go to the Star Sea. Jizuku had already left first. Yejing and others positioned the aircraft. The aircraft was a bit slow. It took several hours before it landed outside the Demon City. Finally back. After Yejing got off the aircraft, he looked at the familiar walls of the Demon City and sighed. This day and night, I suffered a lot. Where are you going back now? To the pub. Yejing asked. Gray shook his head and said with a solemn expression, my family sent me a message and asked me to go back quickly. Something big has happened. Not bad, after all, some people in their family followed the first expeditionary force to Pluto, and they were probably all wiped out. Well, if you have any news, remember to let me know. After Gray left, Yejing turned to Ai Zyakui and said, take Xiao Yan back to rest. If there is any news from the chief, don't forget to tell me. Ai Zyakui nodded silently, hugged the unconscious Ji Qinjian and walked towards the city. Etc. Yejing pointed at the huge aircraft and said, you can take it too. My storage bracelet doesn't have that much space. To be honest, he should really change his storage equipment. He is still using the lowest level storage bracelet, which can't hold anything. The one he refined before was also given to Gray to sell for money. I'll take some time to buy some materials these 2 days and refine a few more by myself. Okay. Ai Zyakui responded, took the aircraft away, and left. Where am I going? With no one around him, Yejing suddenly felt a little lonely. Go back to the Magic City Academy? He doesn't know anyone in the Magic City Academy. And now the Magic City Academy is holding 100 schools war. He has missed the registration and there is nothing for him to do. Well, let's go back to the villa. Yejing sighed and walked into the Magic City alone. Perhaps because the news of the annihilation of the first expeditionary force had spread, the entire Demon City began to be under martial law, and the number of cultivators and guards on the city walls increased to prevent people with ulterior motives from taking advantage of the opportunity to cause trouble. Walking into the Demon City, even in the 23rd district at the outermost part of the Demon City, one can feel the heavy atmosphere in the air. There are very few citizens on the road, and even the gangsters have hidden in their homes, fearing that someone will cause trouble and hurt them. Yejing waited for a long time before he got a taxi and headed back to his home. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 318. Now. The federal emergency meeting held in the Magic City has begun. The 5 permanent directors and 109 directors are all present, and no one is absent. In the Great Chamber, in addition to these members, there are also the 13 people who escaped from Pluto. Based on the intelligence provided by these people, the Federation will make its next judgment. There are many things discussed and decided in this meeting, and it will last a long time. Yejing returned to his home. As soon as he opened the door, he smelled a scent as sweet as roses. This smell gave him a familiar feeling. Not only that, but the sound of the TV came from the living room. Anyone? Yejing walked into the home and saw a fiery red figure lying on the sofa in the living room, full of temptation. Siu, who had gone to work in the Demon City, came back for some reason. She was lying on the sofa wearing a thin red gauze. The red gauze could not cover her lower body, and her snow-white and slender jade-like legs were exposed. Outside, it is warping again and again. Why are you back? Yejing frowned and asked when he saw the familiar figure on the sofa. Why can't I come back? Sia was lying on the sofa and replied lazily. There were a lot of snack bags and a few empty bottles of Coke under the sofa. She didn't know how long she had been here. What? You won't quit your job again and have no place to live or money to eat, right? Yejing sat on the sofa and said with a smile. That's not true. Siu sighed, with a hint of resentment on his lightly made-up face, and sighed, isn't something happened? The Demon Academy was closed urgently and all the students were sent home, including us temporary workers. Gone. The Demon Academy has stopped. Yejing was slightly startled. What about the 100 School battle? There is no time to take care of the 100 Schools war. When the news of the destruction of the first expeditionary force came, many people couldn't sit still and immediately withdrew from the Demon Academy. Who has time to take care of the students? Siu secretly bit her red lips. It was better now. The magic house was closed and she was put on indefinite leave. Doesn't this mean she has no job again? Hearing what Siu said, Yejing was confused and even more puzzled. What's going on with the first expeditionary force at the Demon Academy and the students? Why should they continue to do what they are doing? But, it's none of their business. Siu explained to Yejing while chewing potato chips. The 100 Schools War is a collection of various forces. Behind every student who can participate is a force, either a family or a college. And the first expeditionary force is also a collection of elites drawn from various forces in Blue Star in order to get the rewards they deserve during the expedition. However, although the first expeditionary force came back, only 13 people came back, and they brought nothing back except information. If such a large group exploded, how could the others still sit there? The first expeditionary force has more than 7,000 practitioners, more than 100 space battleships, and tens of billions of spiritual stone resources, all of which have been raised by various forces. Then, everything exploded. I see. Yejing suddenly realized, the Demonic Academy also participated in the first expeditionary force plan, and it also exploded. That's why it was closed to wait for the results, and you are homeless and are back here. That's what he thought, but the difference was that Siu denied it. Siu shook her head. No, I came back just to say goodbye to you. I'm going to Xingai. I probably won't be able to come back in a short time. I think after all we met, we can't just leave, right? You? Going to Xingai? Yejing was shocked. In his eyes, Siu was the kind of person who would rather lie down and starve to death than stand up and be tired. Why would you choose to leave the magic city and head to the unknown and dangerous sea of stars? There's nothing I can do. Siu sighed, slowly straightened up his seductive body, and said with an awkward look on his face, I heard from an elder of my father's generation that there is the essence and blood of the blood ancestor outside the domain, the legendary blood of Cain. You are already a vampire, and if you want to increase your bloodline concentration, the blood of Cain is essential. This trip, even if I don't want to, I can't fly. This is all for the future. Outside the territory. This was the second time Yejing heard this name. The first time was in the Crescent Imperial City. The Lord of the Crescent City fell outside the territory due to unknown reasons. He didn't care at the time, but now, he was curious. What place is outside the domain? Siu seemed to have expected that Yejing would ask this question, and explain to him, although the outside world calls itself a world, it is actually an ownerless planet fragment. It can be regarded as a central city and transit station in the solar system. The outer realm is close to the center of the current solar system, and it is also on the star sea route of the first expeditionary force. The outside world does not belong to any one race. It is a mixed place. In the huge territory, alien races and various forces can be seen everywhere. The outside world is the most chaotic place in the entire solar system. There are humans, aliens, warcraft, star pirate groups, pioneers, bandits, criminals, human trafficking organizations, etc. Even powerful practitioners who have committed serious crimes in Blue Star will choose to flee to the outside world to find a place to live. And in such a mixed place, and on the route of the first expeditionary force, Yejing couldn't help but have some wild thoughts. Why didn't the first expeditionary force just clear out the outside world? Okay, no need to mention this. Perhaps the first expeditionary force did not stay in the outer domain when going to Pluto. Yejing asked, "When are you leaving?" "Now." Siu uttered two words, and then stood up while Yejing was slightly stunned. She smiled at Yejing, waved her hand with crimson nail polish, and said goodbye. "I came back this time to say goodbye to you. We are destined to meet each other. See you in the starry sea." After saying that, she left a fragrant breeze beside Yejing and drifted away. Yejing still hadn't reacted yet, pursed his lips, and was a little confused. How come he was still chatting the previous second, and the next second he left? And why does everyone say to me we are destined to meet each other in the starry sea when they go to the starry sea? Lola Lampaluki is, and Siu is too. I obviously didn't plan to go to the starry sea. It's inexplicable. Yejing muttered softly. The situation is still unknown now. The emergency meeting of the Federation is still being held, and no information has been revealed. However, judging from the closure of the Demon Academy, the impact of the annihilation of the first expeditionary army is greater than he thought. There should be no news today. Now he can only wait for the Federation meeting to end, and he will get some information from Gray or Jizukiu. However, he still has a little uneasiness in his heart. I want to retreat. Retreat for half a year first. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Buletin G. Bayet. Chapter 319. Yejing announced the first day of retreat. Retreat failed. It was not Gray who was looking for him, but Jizukiu. Hurry to the meeting point, hurry up. Jizukiu's tone was so gloomy that even after following him for several blocks, Yejing became cold and trembled. This is, just finished the meeting? Yejing looked at the time, February 16, 8 o'clock in the morning. The meeting lasted all night? Something's not right. After Yejing swallowed his saliva, he replied fearfully, I may have a breakthrough in the next 2 days, and I have already started to retreat. Jizukiu said in a deep voice, breakthrough? Retreat. How long will you be in retreat? Half a year. After a period of silence, Jizukiu's murderous words came from the other side of the phone. Either you come here, or I go over and send you to death, your choice. Yejing was shocked and immediately replied, I'll be there soon. After hanging up the phone, Yejing sighed secretly. Sure enough, it's going to explode. Better go quickly. In less than an hour, Yejing arrived at the tavern. When he walked in, he saw that there was only Jizukiu with a dark face and no one else. Yejing poked his head toward the backstage of the tavern and asked curiously, where are the others? Jizukiu glanced at him sideways and said expressionlessly, there is no one else, just the two of us. 2. The corner of Yejing's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but think of his good brother, and said hurriedly, where is Gray? Isn't Gray coming? Jizukiu shook his head, Gray was taken back by the family. Don't worry, you will meet one day. There will always be a day when we meet. An ominous premonition arose in Yejing's heart. He forced a smile and asked with difficulty, what meeting? Where will we meet? He. Jizukiu suddenly laughed, which made Yejing's scalp tingle. Where will we meet? Look at what you said, of course it will be in the Sea of Stars. Bang. With a muffled sound, Yejing's head hit the table directly, and she was about to cry without tears. I knew it. After all, we still have to go to the Sea of Stars. I want to cry, but I can't. Why is it that none of the people who come to me are good things? Yejing waited for a long time before raising his head. He looked at Jizuki with tearful eyes and struggled, "Can I not go?" Jizuki said with a smile, "No. This time, not only you will go, Gray will also go, I will go too, everyone go back. Who does this deserve? Everyone who occupies a council seat in the Federation, and everyone who occupies a seat in the 1st Expeditionary Force." Yejing looked dull and said blankly, "Is the trouble so serious?" "That's how serious it is." Jizuki's expression suddenly became serious, his face was gloomy, and his dark pupils exuded a trace of fear that he had never seen before. The 13 people who escaped from Pluto brought back a piece of information. This piece of information made the entire solar system tremble. Yejing's heart trembled. The more he knew, the more dangerous it was. He still understood this truth, but he just couldn't suppress his gossip and curiosity. What words? Jizuki stared at Yejing, with a heavy tone, and said word by word, "There is a saint on Pluto." "What the hell? Blue Star and Saint are here." Yejing chuckled and was about to say something when his brain suddenly buzzed, like a bolt from the blue, which stunned him. "What saint?" "The Dean of the Demon Academy is a half-saint. Boss Anthony is a semi-saint. The Great Emperor of Darkness is a semi-saint. Pluto, there is saint." Yejing stiffly raised his head with a shocked expression, staring straight at Jizuki's slightly frightened face, and said dryly, "No way. A real saint? The ultimate holy realm." Jizuki nodded with a pale face, "That's right." "What is a saint? What is a semi-saint?" "These are the definitions of the realm of cultivation given by humans after the solar system was shattered. In the beginning, the pinnacle of spiritual practice was the transcendent realm. When the first transcendent realm breaks through, there will be 3 disaster realms. Extraordinary, holy. The reason why the 3 disaster realms are called semi-saints is because individual life has begun to sublimate from one stage to another. Humanity has experienced this kind of sublimation several times. From mortals to practitioners, this is the first sublimation, marking humanity's entry into a new realm. From the destiny realm to the extraordinary realm, this is the second sublimation, marking the completion of human transformation from the mortal body, from physical body to spirit, and then to the control of the energy of the universe, sublimation to another stage. The 3 disaster realms are like a bridge, supporting humans in the extraordinary realm to ascend to another stage. That stage is called the saint, also known as the holy realm. That is the realm in the legend where one is immortal and immortal, the form is destroyed and the spirit is immortal, coexisting with the heaven and earth. The heaven and earth are not destroyed and the saint is immortal. This state can only be achieved by those who have completely overcome the 3 disasters and walked across the bridge. Nowadays, the solar system has only been broken for more than 100 years, and there are already many 3 disaster situations for the creatures in the solar system. This shows that whether it is a human or a foreign race, there is still talent. But there are many semi-saints in the 3 disaster realms. But there is no true, ultimate holy realm. In fact, all the big daddies in the 3 disaster realms in Blue Star are still in the first disaster, and they have not even crossed 1/3 of the bridge leading to the holy realm. And now, you're humming telling me there's an actual holy realm on Pluto? Are you sure you are not dreaming? If this was said by someone else, Yejing would beat him to a pulp, then throw down a bunch of nonsense and turn away. But this was said by Jizuki, a member of the Federation. Impossible. Yejing denied it directly. No one knows what the real holy realm is like. Maybe they saw it wrong? Maybe it's just a big boss in the 3 disasters realm? Fake, everything is fake. At that time, everyone present thought so. Jizuku said lightly. The original words were said by the only one in the extraordinary realm among the 13 people who escaped back. He said, "Everyone arrived safely on Pluto." Pluto was dead silent and uninhabited, but during the search, an open-air ruin was found. It was a dilapidated ruin, surrounded by space battleships. There in the ruins, there is a skeletal throne that is 100 feet high. On the throne sits a humanoid creature. They are very sure that it is a corpse without any signs of life. But just when they were about to send someone to check, the unforgettable nightmare appeared. The humanoid corpse sitting on the skeletal throne opened his eyes, and there seemed to be a sea of blood in his eyes. As soon as the humanoid corpse opened his eyes, 1/3 of the space battleships and the people were reduced to ashes. The humanoid corpse raised his hand again, and 1/3 of the space battleships were reduced to ashes again. The humanoid corpse stood up for the 3rd time, and we were completely wiped out. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 320. 3 Actions. Open your eyes, raise your hands, and stand up. More than 7,000 practitioners and more than 100 space battleships equipped with countless energy sources were reduced to ashes. Huh. Is this a god? Are you sure you are not telling a story? Yejing was sweating just by listening, his heart was trembling, and his body was shaking, as if he would faint in the next second. Now, do you think he is a true saint or a half-saint? Jizuku did not laugh at Yejing's frightened look. When he heard this description, he was not much better than Yejing. Not only him, but all the directors in the parliament at that time were ashen and overly frightened. Repeated questioning, even the secret method of controlling the mind was used. However, what is terrifying is what the person who escaped back said is true. There is a god of death on Pluto, and the whole army is annihilated in a flip of the hand. Yejing nodded blankly, muttering to himself, he is a true saint. Although he had never seen a strong man in the 3 disasters realm take action, he knew that the commander of the 1st Expeditionary Army was a man at the peak of the transcendent realm, only 1 step away from becoming a saint. Such a man could not hold out for 10 rounds against a half-saint in the 3 disasters realm, but he should be able to take 1 move, right? Then what? When did this commander die? When he opened his eyes? When he raised his hand? Or when he stood up? I don't know, just like the lowest level underground palace realm entourage, he died quietly. Jizuku sighed and said with a melancholy expression, I heard that the whole process took less than 10 seconds. The large army that had been sweeping across the solar system was destroyed within 10 seconds. Otherwise, the warships of these 13 people were far away and reacted quickly. It is estimated that they were really wiped out. These 13 people have been scared silly and suffered a huge mental shock. They are now receiving treatment. It is not certain whether they can recover to normal. Scared silly? I guess I would be scared silly if I saw the scene of people being like dust. Yejing thought silently, but he felt something was wrong, and wondered, since they have no resistance, how did they return safely? He. Jizuku sneered, it's a coincidence that the leader of the Black God Society brought a group of big men from the Dark World and a star pirate group to escort them back. They didn't dare to make any mistakes. Yejing was stunned. Black God Society? Didn't they go to intercept the 1st Expeditionary Force? Why didn't they stop them, but sent them back safely? Do they dare to stop them? Jizuku said coldly, the first only 13 people from the Expeditionary Force escaped back. Do they dare to stop them? Are they tired of living? These 13 people are the last survivors of the 1st Expeditionary Force. If the Black God Society kills them all in such a shocking event, there will be no place for them in the entire solar system. At that time, it will not be a small fight, but the 3 disasters and half-saints will kill the whole family. Even the Emperor of the Dark World dare not say a word. As expected of the leader of the Black God Society, he made the right judgment and sent the 13 people back safely, avoiding a catastrophe. Yejing was speechless. This seems to be a farce. But it is true that if the army of the first expeditionary force came back, the Black God Society would bring people from the Dark World and the Star Pirates to stop them. But the first expeditionary force was directly wiped out. They wanted to run away, for fear of being contaminated. In fact, what holy realm, what half-saint, has nothing to do with him. Yejing frowned and wondered, "Chief, what you said is too far from me. What does it have to do with my going to the Star Sea? You haven't told me yet, where in the Star Sea do you want me to go? This is the key point. It seems that it is another mission. He will not refuse the mission. After all, he was born on Blue Star and eats the resources on Blue Star. It is natural to do something. The key is, what is it?" Jizuki glanced at him and said lightly, "This time it is a bit far, go to Pluto." Swoosh. A hurricane passed by Jizuki's eyes, and the after-images continued. The black figure ran straight out of the door. Speaking of it, Yejing's movements were really fast. In a flash, he took off everything on his body, leaving only a pair of underwear. My goodness, is this a mission? This is going to die. Damn Jizuki, you are harming me. Yejing cursed in his heart, and his feet did not stop. In the blink of an eye, he had rushed out of the tavern and ran wildly towards the distance. He didn't run in that direction, anyway, it was enough to escape from Jizuki. However, no matter how fast he ran, it was nothing in front of Jizuki's spatial ability. Jizuki casually stretched out a finger and gently tapped the desktop. In an instant, the space around him became distorted and illusory, and invisible waves spread in all directions. The next second, Yejing, who was only left with a pair of underwear, returned to the original place. Yejing. Yejing was confused, what's going on? Jizuki showed a sinister smile on his face, and said with a smile, I knew you would run, so I had already set up a barrier nearby. No matter how you run, I will return to the original place at my command. Oh. That's it? Yejing suddenly realized. Playing tricks. He was not discouraged and put on his clothes again, as if nothing had happened. He simply sat in front of Jizuki again and said with an indifferent expression, it's up to you. If you don't want to go, you won't go. You can what to do with me. There is a saying that it is impossible to go. To be honest, this is not something he can get involved with. He wanted to go back to the moon to find Lola Lamperouki, arrange a place for him, take Gray with him, and then have a pleasant retreat together. Wait, why are you bringing Gray? Isn't it nice to take a girl with you? Not going. Don't go. I really don't want to go. I really don't want to go. Jizuki looked at Yejing with a determined look on his face, shrugged his shoulders and said, then you will be alone in the future. What do you mean? Yejing asked confused. Ai Zayakui has already said that he is going, and Gray is also going. Not only them, but also me, the tavern uncle, your classmates, and even the gatekeepers of the Demon Academy will go to Zingai. Will Gray agree? Yejing's tone suddenly rose, with a look of disbelief on his face. Gray was more afraid of death than him. At this time, he would probably be able to hide faster than him. How could he still get in front of him without hesitation? Don't believe it? He will go, Jizuki said calmly, he is the eldest son of the Edward family. If he doesn't go, who will go? As long as the forces related to the first expeditionary force must send people to Pluto. In addition, the Federation has appointed 33 directors, and one permanent director is preparing to go to Pluto. This is the second expeditionary force. It has been on the shelves for more than 3 months, and I update it twice a day. I actually added an extra update. For the sake of today's fourth update, Could you please subscribe? Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 321. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Yejing suddenly jumped up from his seat and exclaimed. The way he looked at Jizuki was wrong. Was this man insane? Less than a day after the news of the annihilation of the first expeditionary force came, the second expeditionary force was about to set off. Moreover, the destination is the terrifying Pluto. This time, the lineup is even more terrifying, with more than 30 federal directors and one federal permanent director. My God! A bunch of lunatics. A trace of pain flashed in Jizuki's eyes, his expression was extremely solemn, and he said in a deep voice, this decision was made yesterday after more than 10 hours of arguing. The second expeditionary force is led by the permanent director of the Federation, Dean of the Demon Academy, and is accompanied by 33 directors from the extraordinary realm. All major forces have provided resources and personnel to accompany the team. There is no mistake in setting off immediately. After voting, the 5 permanent directors unanimously approved this order, and the 109 directors unanimously approved it, with no one objecting. Passed unanimously. What does this mean? There is nothing more to explain. Yejing was not a fool. After thinking about it in a flash, he guessed it. He looked at Jizuki with cold eyes and said calmly, you can be as crazy as you want. You can also fall in love with the secrets of the Holy Realm, but it has nothing to do with me. The Holy Land is too far away. The strongest person in Blue Star is only the first disaster among the 3 disasters. Now go and pay attention to the Holy Realm. What is this? A moth flies into the flame and perishes. After Jizuki heard Yejing's words, he was slightly startled. Then he realized it, waved his hand, and explained, it's not what you think. Well, although a big reason is for the mystery of the Holy Realm, but it's really not what you think. That way. What's that for? Jizuki said, because this news has been leaked, and it will not even take a month to spread throughout the entire solar system. This matter is no longer a matter of our blue star, but a matter of all races in the solar system. There is such a holy realm in the solar system that may have existed in another era. Who would sleep in comfort? Who knows if he will one day destroy the entire solar system like the Omega beam? So. Jizuki had a cruel look on his face, clenched his fist tightly and slammed the table. Strike first is the strongest. This is the voice of all alien races in the solar system. There is an old saying from the ancients, how can you allow someone else to snore and sleep on the couch beside you? What's more, the person sleeping here is not a human, but a tiger. After Yejing heard this, he calmed down. After thinking about it, he frowned and said, aren't you afraid of being like the first expeditionary army and capsizing the ship and wiping out the entire army? The second expeditionary force was destroyed, and there were also the third, fourth, and fifth. Jizuki said calmly, with a strong blood color in his faint words. That's an old monster. That's a relentless old monster. In the blink of an eye, more than 7,000 people evaporated. The old monster is still sleeping in Pluto. If he wakes up and walks into the solar system, what will be the consequences? Unimaginable. Yejing understood. This time I really understand. The blue star is the blue star of mankind, and the solar system is the solar system of all races in the solar system. Among them, the Holy Realm is not included. In fact, Pluto no longer belongs to the solar system from a long, long time ago. In the past 100 years or so, no matter how they were fought, the wars between humans and aliens were all within the scope of the solar system. It's like a group of sheep vying for pasture to graze. Now in this piece of grass, a lone wolf suddenly appeared. It may be injured, or it may be a lone wolf in full strength. Now that's 2 spins. Or the sheep will be eaten by wolves. Either the sheep will tear the wolf into pieces. If it doesn't work once, it will be torn apart again. There will be a day when it will be torn into pieces. A year suddenly appeared in Yejing's heart. If there were no first expeditionary force, wouldn't the Holy Land on Pluto continue to sleep? Thinking of this, he laughed to himself. Who could have expected such a thing? Getting out of the solar system may be the most important thing. After thinking about it, Yejing also laughed. Since this is the case, there is really no other way. Who told him to be born in the solar system? Who said he deserved it? Yejing sighed and murmured to himself in a low voice, then there's nothing we can do. After sighing, Yejing raised his head, looked directly at Jizukiu, and asked, tell me, what should I do? Jizukiu didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he saw Yejing looking at death. I'm not asking you to die. You, Gray and the others have other missions. If I go to die, I won't even look like you. No. Aren't you going to be cannon fodder on Pluto? Yejing was stunned for a moment, with a look of embarrassment on his face. Brother, you have already said that, so what can I think? In an instant, the solemn and oppressive atmosphere was dispersed. Jizuki rolled his eyes and said, your mission is to spread a message in the solar system, that's all. Yejing asked, what news? Jizuki organized his words and replied, it's similar to the fact that there is a holy realm on Pluto, but it has been dead for an era. Or, there is an ancient secret realm left behind by the holy realm on Pluto, and those who get it will go straight to the holy realm. There is a sacred heritage on Pluto. Wait, how come you inside people's hearts, wherever you go, wherever you talk? Got it? Yejing gave Jizuki a sinister look. Doesn't this mean that they spread false information, fan the flames, and deceive everyone in the solar system to the decisive battle? Yejing's heart, which had been in his throat, suddenly let go. He patted his chest and said confidently, don't worry, I'm good at this kind of thing. When to set off, just tell me and it's done. Jizuki looked at Yejing, who was so happy, speechless. If he had known earlier, he would have said it directly, and wasted so much time and effort. Let's set off now. The scope of this operation is very large, covering the entire solar system, so everyone will act alone, and so will you. Set off now, alone. A trip that can be taken at any time. But he still has a difficulty. Yejing said with a bitter face, I don't have a flying machine that can cross the solar system. This Federation is ready. Jizuki said, each person has a flying machine, with 100 tubes of energy, plus a reward of 1 million spirit stones, and after returning, there will be 2 million. So generous. Yejing's eyes lit up, then what else to say? Lead the way. This time. I really want to go to the Star Sea to make trouble. And I'm alone, he always feels that there is such a sense of freedom. Jizuki led the way and took him directly to the aviation base of the Magic City, with the sign of the Federation Director, anytime and anywhere. Not long after, they arrived in front of a huge warehouse. Go in, remember, pick carefully, no one will grab it, the journey is long, comfort is important. Thanks for the reward of x squared equals -1, often vote for me, thank you for your support. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 322. Jizuki stayed outside, and only Yejing walked into the aircraft storage warehouse. Before he came in, he heard Jizuki say that he could choose. He was eager to pick up a good aircraft, so that he wouldn't suffer in the sea of stars. However, when he came in, his face was instantly filled with disappointment. In the huge warehouse in front of him, thousands of aircraft were parked quietly, neatly arranged in rows, which looked very spectacular. However, what left him speechless was: all aircraft have the same look, size, and model. The aircraft were all in light blue appearance and were only 10 cubic meters in size. They probably only had a cockpit, a bathroom, and a lounge. These rows of aircraft are just like mass-produced clones, with absolutely no difference at all. I'm so picky. Yejing walked over helplessly and stopped in front of an aircraft. Just when he was about to get on the plane, he suddenly thought of something. Yejing looked up and down at the aircraft in front of him, then suddenly turned on the combination function in the furnace space and emptied everything inside. Is it possible? Yejing just wanted to give it a try and put his eyes on the aircraft, his mind moving. Transfer, place. The next second, Yejing's face showed a look of ecstasy, and his heart beat faster. The aircraft that was originally parked in front of him suddenly disappeared without a trace. When it appeared again, it was in the 9-square grid of the combination in the furnace space. Damn it! Yejing's brain was shocked, and only 3 words came to his mind. Make a lot of money. Without time to stop, Yejing walked into the warehouse with quick steps. After finding a relatively hidden corner, he cast his greedy eyes on the aircraft in front of him. This should be considered embezzlement of federal assets, right? This should be illegal, right? But as long as people don't know something, it doesn't matter. Yejing glanced around the mass-produced aircraft warehouse. When he walked inside, he saw many empty seats along the way. It seems that many people had already taken a step ahead of him, received the aircraft from here, and headed for the Starsea. Since it's not an integer, who would remember how many there are in total? After Yejing misinterpreted the illegal thoughts in his mind, he drooled and silently chanted to the aircraft in front of him. Transfer. The second aircraft appeared in the 9-palace grid. Then, he turned his head. The third aircraft was taken away. Turn around again. The fourth one. The fifth frame. After 5 fights, Yejing temporarily stopped stealing federal assets and instead put his consciousness into the furnace space. The 9-square grid is already filled with 4 positions. In his memory, the price of combination increases according to the number of combined items. 2 is 100 energy, 3 is 1000 energy, 4 is 10,000 energy, and 5 is 100,000 energy. To the top. The 5 combined together were the limit that he could bear. Since stealing, might as well make it bigger. Hiding 9 aircraft directly in the Jigong grid is nothing. He wants to directly combine a level 9 aircraft. Yejing took a look at the energy he had left, and then at the pile of spiritual stones in the storage bracelet. He gritted his teeth, and 600,000 spiritual stones turned into energy. Whether to combine or not, the number of combined items is 5, which requires the consumption of 100,000 spiritual stones. Yes. Buzzing sound. A bright light blinded Yejing's eyes, and the 9 palaces grid began to become illusory. A few seconds later, a brand new aircraft icon appeared in the 9 palaces grid. Unnamed, battleship level flying device, area 100*100, solid and hardened shell, can withstand attacks below the 3rd level of Destiny Realm, consumes 20% less energy, comes with a super energy destroyer cannon. The attack power is equivalent to the Destiny Realm of full-strength attack at level 5, the speed is the normal battleship speed. It's not an aircraft anymore. It's a battleship. Yejing was dumbfounded as he looked at the newly released battleship, and was extremely shocked. He originally just wanted to put together a luxurious and hardcover version of the aircraft to make his journey more comfortable. Who would have imagined that after the aircraft was gone, a battleship with its own defense and attack devices was assembled, and its size and area were expanded 10 times, reaching 100 square meters. This is too surprising, so crazy. After the shock, comes ecstasy. This pie-in-the-sky situation knocked Yejing unconscious. His eyes were red, like a hungry wolf that hadn't eaten meat in 10 years, and his greedy eyes glanced at the other aircraft. What are you waiting for? Keep going. Yejing started to move faster. He first placed the combined battleships on the empty space, and then his figure flashed nearby, and he once again placed the 5 aircraft into the combination 9 square grid. Whether to combine, the number of combinations is 5, and a small consumption of 100,000 spiritual stones is required. Yes. A few seconds later, another identical battleship icon appeared in front of him. Without hesitation, without even a second's pause, he took out the new battleship again, and similarly placed the 5 aircraft into the 9 square grid. Whether to combine, the number of combinations is 5, which requires consuming 100,000 spiritual stones. Yes. Back and forth, in just over a minute, 5 warships appeared in his sight, and the huge warships directly filled up this blank area. Yejing's eyes were straight, and his heart was trembling. If someone suddenly came in and took a look inside the warehouse at this time, he would explode. Be good, put it back quickly. Yejing quickly put the newly assembled warships into the 9 square grid. With his heart beating violently, he trembled and clicked combination. At this time, he was still muttering in his heart. 5 times 5, 25 aircraft, not too many, not too many, it should be impossible to be discovered. Do you want to combine? The number of combinations is 5, and it will cost 100,000 spirit stones. Yes. Boom. A super battleship that is more battleship than a battleship has appeared. Unnamed, interstellar class battleship, Area 150*150, ignores attacks below the 3rd level of the Destiny realm, autonomously defends attacks below the 7th level of the Destiny realm, can defend against attacks at the peak of the Destiny realm multiple times after opening the energy shield, comes with energy annihilation cannon, psychic bombardment, super electromagnetic cannon, energy consumption reduced by 50%, automatically restores energy from the starry sky, restores 1% per hour, twice the speed of a normal battleship. The peerless killer weapon has appeared. Yejing took a breath, with an expression of disbelief on his face. Just 25 mass-produced aircraft, but they were combined into such a terrifying battleship. Thank you for the reward from Tiantutu. Thank you for your support. Let's be honest, if you have any opinions, it's better to say them. After all, we have followed here, right? Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 323. This time, I made a lot of money. Yejing stared blankly at the interstellar battleship, so shocked that he couldn't speak. What's this? This is the basis for him to walk in the sea of stars. The built-in defense device can even withstand attacks at the peak of the Destiny realm. The built-in attack methods have been upgraded from 1 to 3. What does this mean? This means that as long as he has energy, he can carry out all-round indiscriminate bombing. Thinking about this scene, it feels so good. Moreover, the most lacking thing in the Sea of Stars is energy. Not only does this battleship reduce energy consumption by 50%, it can even absorb the aura of the universe and restore its own energy during the trip. Is this too bug? Isn't this a perpetual motion machine? The Star-class battleship modified by this combination is many times better than the Star-class battleship mass-produced by the Federation. The speed is still twice that of ordinary battleships. Even if you can't beat it, you can still run. This trip will bring you a lot of money. Yejing couldn't help but murmur, with a look of joy on his face. He was just about to turn his attention to other aircraft and prepare to further process his space battleship. It's a pity that God does not follow people's wishes. Just when he was about to continue his attack, the warehouse door was pushed open and a familiar voice came in. Hey, Yejing, what are you doing? Hurry up. Oh. It's coming, it's coming. Jizuki came in to find him. Yejing responded in a panic and walked out of the warehouse. When he walked out, he conveniently placed 8 more aircraft into the 9 palaces of the composition to fill the empty spaces. It's not really that he's too greedy, it's I can't control these hands. Even if you can't eat, you still have to walk around. After Yejing walked out, Jizuki frowned and asked, "Where is your aircraft? Is it not on? Is it installed in the storage space? I tell you, you can only take one. There are detectors when you go out." "Oh. And detection? Then it's not too bad if I don't get one, right?" Yejing rolled his eyes, pretended to have forgotten, patted his head, and said, "Look at me, I'm so spoiled for choice, I actually forgot about it, I'll just open it at random." Jizuki looked at Yejing's poor performance with a sneer. He didn't know what he was doing, so he just let him go. Could he still empty the entire warehouse? "How did you get up there? Is there not enough storage space?" Jizuki couldn't help but ask when he saw Yejing preparing to climb onto the aircraft. Yejing smiled awkwardly, "It's really not enough." He never had time to replace the storage bracelet. "Really?" Jizuki sighed, threw an exquisite silver-white ring to Yejing, and said, "This is 100 cubic meters of storage equipment, take it, it also contains 1 million travel expenses and 100 units of energy." "He is ready." Yejing was overjoyed and thanked him, "Thank you. Travel expenses, energy, star-class battleships and the Federation have all been prepared for him. This Federation is too good to him, right?" After Yejing casually installed an aircraft, he followed Jizuki and left. After exiting the warehouse gate, Yejing asked, "When should I set off?" Jizuki glanced at him sideways and said calmly, "Now, immediately." "So anxious?" "It's not that I'm in a hurry. I'm afraid that you'll turn around and run away without doing anything after taking the things. It's better to watch you go to heaven." Yejing. Am I so uneasy? But it didn't matter. He took back the generous sum and followed Jizuki to the flying ground obediently. Jizuki pointed to an open space and said calmly, "Go to the sky, the route to Pluto has been input into the aircraft, just follow it. I'm telling you, you can play, but don't forget the mission. There are true holy ruins on Pluto." I understand, I understand." Yejing nodded, said goodbye to Jizuki, and got on the aircraft. Then, it soared into the sky and flew towards the sea of stars. Jizuki looked at Yejing in the sky silently and remained silent for a long time. In fact, there was one thing he hadn't told Yejing yet. After a moment of silence, Jizuki turned around silently, leaving behind a lonely silhouette. The second expeditionary force is also about to set off. If the Federation takes action, it must be of high quality. The aircraft is very fast. In the blink of an eye, he left the sky above the demon city and stepped into the sea of stars. Yejing sat in the cockpit of the aircraft, bored in every possible way. The aircraft can assume an automatic stance and its route has been fixed, so there is no need for him to do anything. Just stop spreading the news every time you reach a neutral city of various ethnic groups. At this time, he had not yet left the range of Blue Star, and he did not dare to take out his interstellar-class battleship. He had to endure it for a while, and when he left Blue Star, then it would be the sky is high, let the birds fly, and the sea is wide, let the fish leap. Yes. Out of boredom, Yejing began to sort out his broken storage bracelets and put all the contents into the storage ring given by Jizuki. Suddenly, a bottle of golden potion caught his eye, and he couldn't move away. This seems to be a training potion extracted from the essence of the sun given by Gray. I heard that it contains a large amount of high-level energy. After drinking it, you can go straight to the realm of destiny. This happened a few days ago. I was too busy at the time, so I forgot about it, but it's okay. Anyway, it's out now. Now that you have turned it out, drink it? Yejing said silently, casually opened the bottle of golden medicine and drank it in one gulp. It doesn't taste like anything. Yejing muttered dissatisfiedly, and then burned. In an instant, his whole body seemed to be melted by the samadhi true fire, from the inside to the outside, and then to the top of the soul. It was like a fire, extremely hot. This sip was not a medicine, but the sun. The burning sensation dyed his whole body red, and white gas evaporated hotly. This situation lasted for a full hour before it returned to normal. The high-level energy that rushed into his body was gradually absorbed. Not long after, Yejing opened his eyes and breathed a long sigh of relief. Under his astonished eyes, this breath turned into a flame and sprayed half a meter away. Transformed into a fire-breathing dragon? Yejing hurriedly covered his mouth, fearing that the aircraft would be ignited. His realm had been raised to the 5th level of the underground palace realm. He was a little disappointed. Didn't he say that he could ascend directly to the heavenly fate realm? Did I hear it wrong? Yejing entered the cultivation state with some disappointment and began to stabilize his realm. It was unknown how long or how many days had passed since the stabilization. 7 days later. The aircraft had already left the Blue Star range and was heading towards the route. Suddenly, the aircraft, which was originally driving at irregular intervals, suddenly stopped. After a violent shaking, Yejing was awakened. What happened? After a slight pause, Yejing inadvertently saw something that shocked him through the monitor. It was a black pirate flag that was tens of meters high. Biduxing pirates. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 324. Time, a few days after Yejing left the Blue Star. Location, thousands of miles away from the Blue Star. What happened? Yejing was surrounded. The journey to the Starry Sea ended. After the aircraft shook violently, Yejing had to interrupt his cultivation. He thought the aircraft had hit a meteor and glanced at the display without paying attention. Then, it exploded. Yejing was stunned at first, and hurriedly rubbed his eyes and pinched his arm, and found that he was not dazzled or dreaming. Instead, he was really surrounded. Damn it! What happened? I just closed my eyes to cultivate for a while. Why did the whole world become unfriendly after I opened my eyes? In the all-round display with no blind spots, he saw a black flag several tens of meters high at first glance. The black flag was dotted with 7 dazzling stars, and the 7 planets formed a spoon shape. This was the icon of the Big Dipper. Above the Big Dipper, there is a pale skull, with a creepy dead gaze sweeping across the universe. This is the icon of the Star Pirates. Finally, at the top of the black flag, 6 silver characters are engraved. Big Dipper Pirates. This flag is hung on an interstellar main ship. This is a huge silver streamer main ship, more than 1,000 meters long, with a prismatic body. At the front of the main ship, there is a huge energy main gun, with a barrel length, width, and height of nearly 10 meters. What frightened Yejing the most was that the black barrel of this 10-meter main gun was facing his tiny aircraft. Wouldn't it be annihilated if this shot went down? Around the energy main gun, dozens of 3-meter wide secondary guns were arranged in large and small sizes, also aimed at Yejing, making his scalp numb. Around the main ship with the pirate group flag, hundreds of interstellar battleships were parked quietly, surrounding Yejing from left to right, from top to bottom. Judging from the appearance of these interstellar battleships, they are probably only slightly weaker than the interstellar battleship and he just assembled. Yejing wanted to cry but had no tears. He had just come out of Blue Star. He was still fantasizing about the beauty of the journey in the Starry Sea, but when he opened his eyes, how could he encounter such a behemoth? Moreover, it has never been said that there is such a huge pirate group near Blue Star. Wait. He suddenly thought that the 13 people who came back alive from the first expeditionary force seemed to be sent back by a pirate group. It seems that it should be the Big Dipper pirate group. That's right, they are now in the return stage, and then I met them. Is this bad luck? This is bad luck. Just when Yejing was desperate, the Big Dipper pirate group shouted across the air. Listen, people in the aircraft, you have two choices. The first is to resist and then die in the energy bombardment. The second is to get out of the aircraft, raise your hands above your head, and stand still. Start your choice. Two choices. Yejing fell into deep thought. Excuse me, can he use this mass-produced aircraft with no offensive ability to fight against their interstellar battleships? Obviously, no. What about the interstellar battleships he hid in the 9-square grid? I want to fight 100 of them. I can't beat them, I can't beat them. I have no power to resist. In a blink of an eye, Yejing made a choice. He first cleared a space in the previous storage bracelet, then took out an aircraft from the full 9-square grid and put it in the storage bracelet. After transferring all the valuables to the storage ring given to him by Jizikyu, he threw them into the 9-square grid. In order to cover up, he also put a lot of miscellaneous spirit stones in the storage bracelet to fill it up. In this way, even if he was robbed, he would not lose too much. After doing all this, Yejing silently opened the door of the aircraft, raised his hands, and stood on the aircraft. In fact, he had another choice. For example, he could jump off the aircraft and then fall into the abyss of the universe, and see if his luck would allow him to randomly fall on a piece of planetary land, survive with the help of War of Sorrow, and then regroup. Unfortunately, he no longer believed in his luck. On the 1,000-meter main ship of the Baiduxing pirates, in the front super-large posture room, sat a middle-aged tough guy. He was shirtless, burly, dark-skinned, and several scars could be vaguely seen on his hard skin. The big man had a ferocious face, and it was unknown whether he had a wound on his forehead. He had a piece of black cloth wrapped around his forehead. Third leader, a kid came out of the aircraft. A lackey next to him said, "Crunch, crunch, crunch." There was a table of meat dishes in front of the third leader, including roasted chicken, roasted duck, demon wolf, and demon rabbit meat, stuffing his mouth with oil. "Confiscate the chicken, and take it to my daiquile." The lackey next to him seemed to have heard it for a long time, and translated it in his mind. "Confiscate the mount, bring it to me." "Yes." The young lackey responded, waved his hand, and drove the aircraft with two people towards Yejing. A few minutes later, the lackey and two men stood in front of Yejing, glanced at Yejing up and down, and said casually, "Underground palace realm. Brother advises you not to resist. Otherwise, the energy cannon will not recognize people." After that, he took out a magnet-like thing from his arms and stuck it on Yejing's back. The moment of contact, Yejing's face changed slightly. The spiritual energy in his body seemed to be sealed. There is omega energy in this magnet. Yejing thought silently, because he had other calculations in his mind, so he did not resist. Yejing's honesty made the lackey look at him differently. He patted his shoulder and smiled arrogantly, "Don't resist, it's useless to resist. The cooks in our pirate group are at a higher level than you. Not to mention that there are cannons aimed at you. It's best to be obedient. Professional pirates, many years of reputation, not seeking sex, not seeking life, only seeking wealth." After saying that, he pulled Yejing towards his own aircraft. At this time, Yejing suddenly interrupted, "You said, if I resist, will the cannons come over and kill us all?" "Hiss." The lackey shuddered, glared at Yejing fiercely, and said with bared teeth, "The spiritual energy limiter has been installed, why are you still resisting?" As if he remembered something, he stretched out his hand to pull off the storage bracelet on Yejing's hand, fearing that he would take out some secret treasure scrolls and give them a hard blow. Yejing did not resist, but the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Only seek wealth, not life. Seeking wealth is good. I have a huge treasure waiting to be shared here. I just don't know if you dare to take it. He was still thinking about who to find to spread rumors, but he didn't expect that someone would come to his door. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 325. After being brought into the main ship, Yejing was really shocked. The interior was extremely spacious. From inside to outside, the 1,000-meter main ship was made entirely of mithril, and the important joints and intersections were all made of black gold. Is being a pirate so profitable now? A 1,000-meter mithril warship, just take it out for a walk. It's really enviable. Yejing looked at the interior of the main ship with curiosity, as if he had never seen the world before, not daring to miss a single detail. It was the same whether he was curious or collecting intelligence. His fearless look made the lackey in front of him raise his eyebrows and feel dissatisfied. What? Looking here and there, do you think you are sightseeing? The lackey pushed Yejing hard and said coldly, don't look blindly. Aren't you afraid that we will kill you? Yejing shook his head and smiled, no, I know a big secret, this secret is much more important than my life. The lackey was slightly stunned and whispered, what secret? Yejing smiled but said nothing. The lackey also understood, glared at him, and stopped talking to him. Although Yejing looked normal and seemed fearless, he was panicking in his heart. There was no way not to panic, his spiritual energy was sealed, and the whole person was just like an ordinary person except that his body was a little stronger. In addition, since he was brought into the main ship, he could feel a terrifying breath every few dozen meters, emanating from the rooms on both sides. These terrifying breaths, without exception, are all in the realm of destiny. The Baiduxing pirates are full of masters. The black and gold automatic doors opened one after another, and he was brought into the gradually opening cockpit. The cab covers an area of about several dozen square meters, with 3 platforms. The lower platform is closest to the outside of the cab, with 23 people facing the instrument, not knowing what they are controlling. The middle platform is in the middle, with 12 people fiddling with delicate instruments. The top platform is the highest and closest to the transparent screen of the main ship. There are only 7 people on it, 3 on the left, 3 on the right, and 1 in the middle. Yejing narrowed his eyes slightly and looked directly at the man in the middle. Even with his back to him, Yejing could feel the terrifying power like mountains and seas, as if a ferocious beast was rushing towards him. This is the boss. Yejing defined it. Third leader, the people are here. The lackey pushed Yejing in front of the third leader and said respectfully. But the third leader didn't even look at them, still eating meat and drinking wine in big mouthfuls, eating and drinking very heroically, as if he hadn't eaten for several lifetimes. This scene seemed to be very common. The lackeys were waiting on the side, and Yejing was also waiting on the side. The third leader? Is this person just the third one? Yejing was shocked. The person who led such a large fleet to intercept the first expeditionary force was just the third one? Then how powerful were their first and second leaders? Moreover, it seemed that hundreds of warships were only a small part of the Baidu Star pirates. Sure enough, those who could mix in the Star Sea were not simple characters. However, this also confirmed his idea that the stronger the person, the more eager for strength. Next, it was time to show his true eloquence. The Holy Land ruins, you deserve it? Waiting honestly, the 3 leaders ate for more than an hour. After finishing all the dozens of large plates of meat in front of them, they wiped their mouths and set their eyes on Yejing for the first time. When their eyes were locked, Yejing felt like he was being stared at by the Hongmeng beast, and couldn't help shuddering. The third leader raised his eyelids and said lazily, "You live on Blue Star? What do you do?" "In the solar system, all humans are from Blue Star." Yejing did not hesitate and said, "I am from Li Wangcheng, Li Wang's subordinate, responsible for intelligence collection." Li Wang. The third leader frowned, obviously having heard of the reputation of the irritable Li Wang, and his face showed hesitation. "Third leader, look at this." At this moment, the lackey who snatched Yejing's storage bracelet handed over a card. This card made Yejing sweat profusely. "Why did I forget to put it away?" After the third leader looked at the card, he looked at Yejing with interest. "A student of the Demon City Academy, Yejing, right? This is the student card of the Demon Academy." Yejing pursed his lips and said calmly, "Yes, I am a student of the Demon Academy and also a subordinate of King Li." The third leader threw the card to the lackey and asked casually, "How much assets does he have?" The lackey said truthfully, "2 mass-produced aircraft on Blue Star, both are 100% new, worth about 10 million spirit stones, and then it's gone." "Are mass-produced aircraft so expensive?" Yejing was slightly surprised, as he still had 7 aircraft parked in his 9-square grid. 2 100% new aircraft, given to a little ghost in the underground palace realm, a bit interesting. The third leader looked at Yejing for a few times and didn't find anything special. He came out of the Baiduxing garrison city this time because he accepted the commission of the Black God Society to stop the return of the First Expeditionary Army. Then what? Only 13 people were left out of the First Expeditionary Force of more than 7,000 people, which scared him silly on the spot. And the mission was changed from intercepting the First Expeditionary Force to escorting the First Expeditionary Force back to Blue Star. There was no other way, he could only say that he was unlucky. Who told him that only 13 people were left in the First Expeditionary Force? If something unexpected happened on the way, their Blue Star pirates would be blamed. Once the Blue Star Federation got angry, the solar system would tremble. There was no need to talk about sending a large force. Any 3 disaster realms could destroy their Blue Star pirates. This time, they didn't even get the energy money. They lost a lot. The thieves didn't leave empty-handed, let alone the star pirates. So, he planned to rob along the way. Whether it was a small shrimp or a big octopus, he would eat them to make up for the loss. He originally thought that Yejing was just a small shrimp. Of course, he was a small shrimp. But he didn't expect that this small shrimp was so rich. 2 completely new aircraft and 10 million spirit stones were enough for the energy cost of his 20 interstellar battleships for the return trip. Thinking of this, the 3 leaders looked at Yejing with a gentle look. "As long as you are giving money, you are God." The 3 leaders directly confiscated Yejing's 2 aircrafts and smiled generously. "I don't care whether you are from the Demon Academy or Li Wangcheng, we have taken the aircrafts, and we will release you when we reach the next transit city." Yejing. Without even thinking about it, Yejing blurted out a sentence. "Can't let go. You took away 2 aircrafts and 10 million spirit stones, and you let them go just like that? Impossible. Why are all of them passive skills?" Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 326. "He hasn't started talking like a lotus, how could he leave? Do you want my hard-earned aircraft to be fed to the dog?" Yejing couldn't let go of the sentence, but the 3 leaders were stunned. "What do you mean? Aren't you happy to let you go?" Yejing's mind was racing and he thought of the words in a few seconds. He said with a solemn expression, "Actually, I am really leaving the royal city." The 3 leaders sneered and said, "I don't care what city you are from. I will definitely not be able to return the aircraft to you. Find a way to get back by yourself. Don't push yourself too far. Do you really want to be a pirate and not kill others of your own kind?" He thought Yejing wanted to use King Li to pressure him and ask him to return the aircraft. Is this possible? Is he afraid of King Li? To be honest, I'm afraid. But no one is willing to give up the meat in their mouth. Yejing shook his head and said, "That's not what I meant. What I meant is that I am really collecting information from the royal city. I have a secret information. Chief, are you willing to listen?" Well, he admitted that he was not good at eloquence and couldn't think of any seductive words, so he had to say it directly. After hearing this, the three leaders chuckled, waved their hands impatiently, and said, "Stop fooling people, you idiot. Will you tell me the secret information? Dogleg, take him down and lock him up." "Yes." After the dog-legged guy responded, he pulled Yejing away. Yejing was shocked, struggled repeatedly, and hurriedly shouted, "There is a real holy realm on Pluto. Is this the secret you were talking about?" The three leaders said calmly, "I'm afraid everyone in our entire fleet knows the secret information." After all, they were the ones who escorted the first expeditionary force back. Apart from them, everyone in the Black God Society knew about this matter. Although it was very shocking, it had nothing to do with them. Then what if this holy realm is dead? Yejing changed his tone and said in a deep voice. Moment. His shoulders were grabbed by two thick, black, stiff hands, which hurt him. He saw the three leaders arriving in front of him at some point, staring at him with red eyes, their heartbeats beating loudly, and even their breaths became thicker. "What did you say? Say it again," the three leaders said in a rough tone. "Just be interested, but I'm afraid you won't be." Yejing said, "The information you got from the first expeditionary force is that there is a real holy realm on Pluto, right? But they didn't say anything else." The three leaders pushed Yejing down on his seat and said in a strong tone, "What information did they bring back?" He himself secretly regretted it. He was frightened and confused at the time, and sent the first expeditionary force back without asking any questions. Now that I think about it, it is correct. How could they tell the complete information? Yejing smiled softly and secretly breathed a sigh of relief. There is a holy realm on Pluto, that's for sure, but it's a dead holy realm that appeared in an unknown era. The dead holy realm. The three leaders stared at Yejing, with murderous intent in their eyes. Can the dead holy realm wipe out the first expeditionary army? If you continue to talk nonsense, don't blame me for sending you to the west. Yejing's heart trembled, his face stiffened, and he hurriedly said, "It's true, the holy realm on Pluto has fallen, but the heritage ruins and corpses are still there. The first expeditionary force rashly broke into the heritage ruins of that holy realm and was destroyed by the trap in the ruins. The dead holy realm, the corpse of the holy realm, the heritage relics." Only these three words were left in the mind of the third leader. His heart was beating fast, and deep greed flowed out of his dark eyes. The inheritance of the true holy realm. That is something that can dominate the entire solar system. Yejing looked at the silent three leaders, filled him with oil again, and said seductively, "I heard from the information that the holy realm left a legacy in the ruins that is not of this era, and even a solar system. Other information. Holy realm inheritance. What a tempting word this is. Even if this is hell, it is also a sweet hell." The three leaders looked at Yejing coldly. After calming down their turbulent heart, they calmed down and said with a look of disbelief on their faces, "Will you tell me this kind of confidential information? I'm afraid it's fake." Yejing shrugged his shoulders and said nonchalantly, "This is no longer confidential information. The day I came out of Blue Star, it had already spread throughout Blue Star. If you don't believe it, just wait for half a month. News of the holy ruins will spread throughout the solar system. I learned from GeniusProtagonist that there must be many people responsible for spreading rumors, including Gray. Moreover, thousands of aircraft have been prepared in the warehouse, all for those who accept the mission." After the three leaders heard this, Their expressions were slightly startled, and they fell into thinking, as if they were hesitating something. Their faces were uncertain, and they were struggling. After being silent for a long time, the three leaders looked sideways at Yejing and said calmly, "I will naturally send people to investigate what you said, but why did you tell me this information in advance?" "Of course it's for fate." Yejing said with a smile, "Of course it is to join the Big Dipper pirate group. I will go to Pluto alone. During the half-year journey, I might encounter some kind of crisis. If I can follow the greatest pirate group in the Star Sea, I will definitely very safe. This is the truth. He is going to Pluto along the route alone. His strength is not high, so he is afraid of accidents on the way, but if he can hug him, that's another matter." "Join as a partner?" The third leader was slightly stunned. He really didn't expect this to be the reason. A trace of curiosity appeared on his rough face. "Aren't you afraid of being involved with an irregular pirate group? Li Wangcheng and the Demon Academy are both among the most powerful forces. Aren't you afraid of ruining your future?" Yejing showed a confident smile and said in a steady tone, "Let me introduce myself first. I am a student of the Demon City Academy, one of the 5 major academies." Although he has never been to the Demon Academy except when school started. "I am a subordinate of Li Wangcheng. In fact, he is a citizen of the Lord of Lihui. I am a guest of the Edward family. In fact, he is Gray's friend. I am a friend of the Lampaluki family of the New Moon Empire. In the entire New Moon royal family, he only knows Lola Lampaluki. I am the Viscount of the New Moon Empire. I don't know if Lola has done this for him. I have economic dealings with the Changtian group of the Demon City. This is true. The Deputy Lord of Changjiao gave him a 2-story villa worth 500,000 spirit stones. I am old acquaintances with many directors of the Federation." He only knew Jizikiu. Yejing was in high spirits and spoke fluently, becoming more and more confident as he spoke. He listed all the names of the forces he had come into contact with. A long list of names came out of his mouth, and the three leaders were all confused.